Hello, hello, hello. Here we are on day 3 and of our Own Your Genius series. This is so much fun. I love to do this series. And you guys are in for a treat today. As always, you're in for a treat on these fun little live recordings. And so thanks for all who have been joining all week long and who have been getting in afterwards and listening to the recordings. We love it. We love having you guys join in and share comments as you're joining. And I am logging in here from another new location today because of all things, Murphy's Law, as we were just talking about, my electricity went out today. So I have no electricity at home, but here I am. I'm in my aunt's lovely office and it's nice and sunny. And so I'm thrilled to be here and had to just take a little drive up the mountains. So it was awesome. So here we are today. You guys are in for such a treat. We've got Dana Kirchmar, and Dana Kirchmar, I always love to brag on her. She's our rocket scientist in the mastermind, and she is inspiring young women in STEM and STEAM. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means and why STEAM as opposed to just STEM. So meet Dana Kirchmar. Do you want to say hi, Dana? And then we have Kathleen June, and Kathleen is an expert in the world of adult learning and how do we learn and how do we really retain things as adults, because we all learn differently, and she's an expert in this, and she helps people build their courses with a soulful and with structure. And she's really, I mean, everybody who ever works with Kathleen loves her because she creates a better course for people for leaving behind a legacy like we all want to do, right? The impact that we want to make with our work. Kathleen helps you make sure that you can really keep that learning solid, right? And then we have the fabulous Shelly Johnson, who helps women over 40 unleash their edge. And especially with the diversity cross, she really likes to help people step up and empower them to own their awesome. So I am so excited to have all 3 of these women. You guys are going to love all 3 of these women. And as you are logging on today, do tell us who you are. We can't, if you guys haven't really logged into StreamYard.com/Facebook, we don't know who you are. You just show up as Facebook user as we're here on StreamYard. So when you're making comments, we want to hear from you. We'd love to hear who's out there. And as you are doing it, tell us who you are so we know we can put some context with it. It's always fun to know that. So let me tell you a little bit, you guys, if you've been joining us, this is our 3rd day. We've got 3 more days next week. And when I started the Own Your Genius series 3 years ago, Dana, you were there. Kathleen, you were there. And Shelly, I don't think you were there 3 years ago, but you were there 2 years ago.
I was. This is my 2nd year with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what I love about this is what happens. And when I think about when we started this in 2020, we were at the very beginning of the pandemic, right? And we all got very clear that it was time yes, we had to take care of ourselves and do all the right things, but we also had to really go out. Our communities needed us. We wanted to show up and serve in our communities. And that was kind of the early concepts of what Own Your Genius stood for. And so this is a way for us to share what each of my wonderful mastermind clients are out there putting the beautiful genius that they're putting out into the world and how they're making a difference with the gifts of who they are. And when we started this 3 years ago, we started tracking what was happening, how many stages people were landing on, and how many podcast people were landing on, because this is about owning your voice, getting your voice out into the world, knowing what you stand for, and then turning around and getting out there and really starting to show up with your voice in bigger ways. And the numbers were just fantastic. It made me so proud to see that. I shared some of the numbers on Monday, so go back and you can hear some of them. Or I guess it was Tuesday, and you can hear some of those on that episode. But it makes me really proud, because what I know, my goal is really to get the ripple effect of my work out there, and then my clients go put the ripple effect of their work out there and impact the people. And we start creating these beautiful waves of impact together. And that's super fun. And that's what this is about. So we love to celebrate that. So I am going to start with Dana today. And so, Dana, why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself? I've given a little bit of starter for there, but tell us a little bit more about you.
So my name is Dana Kirchmar. I have 35 years experience as an aerospace engineer in both the aviation and aerospace industries. And so I have spent a lot of time navigating the male-dominated world of aviation and aerospace and engineering in general.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite stories that you tell is being in a room where there's a launch going to happen, and you're doing the countdown, and it's like that's just something that we see on TV, right? That's
It
what
is.
we've seen on TV, but Dana's actually been in that room with the no-go and the go decisions, and it's always fun to hear Dana's stories of her out there, in that real work, making a difference with that, for many years you've been doing this. There's something that you're working on right now. Tell us more about what you're building right now.
So right now I am building a program to engage young women and women who are just starting out their careers in embracing what they love to do, having successful careers in STEM and STEAM, but not losing themselves in the process of it. So it's
And
really
why is that so important?
so it's important because did lose track of myself, and I had a big event happen to me where I unexpectedly found myself unemployed, and I realized that I had lost track of who I was. I had no idea what I loved to do. I had no idea what the things were that kept me aloft. And so I was spending so much time paddling under the water to keep my career going that I lost track of things that I love to do. And looking back, I have, regrets on the way that I've made some of my decisions in my life, because really my career has always been my highest priority for me. And I had an issue with boundaries and my time and what I was willing to give of myself.
Yeah. And what do you want? I mean, I know your passion is around working with young women as they're entering their STEM careers.
Mm-hmm.
And we need women in STEM careers. We need women in STEAM careers, right? In the technology, we need them out there bringing their voices into this. One, why is that so important? And two, what do you want to be different for them? What do you want to give them as a foundation as they're stepping into these really important roles?
So it's
Pushing the buttons of go or no go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really interesting that somewhere between 70 and 80% of middle school girls say that they're interested in STEM and STEAM. But when you look at who actually ends up going into those careers, it's less than 2% of the population. So
Where's
we
that shift happen?
have this desire that we lose these girls somewhere between middle school and when they go to college. And part of that is because they don't see themselves in these STEM and STEAM roles. So if they think about STEM, they think about the nerdy engineer with a pocket protector and the glasses that are, they don't see themselves. And so when we start showing these young women at a younger age what they can look like. A perfect example of this is the new Supreme Court justice. Like, she is inspiring so many young women now that didn't see themselves being able to do that. And we need to do the same thing in the tech industries as well.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love it. And what needs to shift once they're stepping into that career? What needs to shift for them?
Really what needs to shift for them is that they need to be passionate about what they're doing, and they need to remember the things that lift them up in order to keep them performing at their highest level. If you're not doing something that you're passionate about, you get bogged down and you get pulled into the politics, and it's just you kind of lose your soul, which I'm afraid I did, and it it changed my personality. It changed who I was. I was behaving in a way that was not true to me in order to
Trying to fit
climb
in.
a ladder in
Yeah.
an industry that I could, that I wasn't necessarily born in the mold that I was working in, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
It totally makes sense because I mean, even back when I go back to my corporate days, I know I totally shifted and molded myself to fit into spaces. And, you know, it's one of those things that, and I think that if we can learn to own the leader of who we are and be, you know, our unique self showing up, we're going to show up brighter, more brightly in our roles. We're going to be able to go further in, you know, because I know that, you know, even as the women coming into tech fields even get smaller the higher we go up in the executive roles, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's awesome. What about the STEAM side of it? Tell us why you're so passionate about. Tell us what STEAM is and why you're so passionate about the STEAM side of this.
So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math, and
Mhm.
STEAM adds the A to that for arts. And what's interesting about the arts part of it is the arts all comes from the right side of the brain. It's all the creativity and the innovation and the teamwork. If you think about it, the left brain, which is what STEM generally is, are things that can be replicated by artificial intelligence. But you
Yeah,
can't really replicate the things in the right brain, such as
yeah,
the creativity and the innovation. And interestingly, companies now, tech companies in particular, are really putting more value on the A part of it. They're really interviewing for things that aren't, are you able to solve a math problem is one thing, but are you able to work with someone in solving that math problem and get along and get to, you know, it's the right side of the brain thing that is really becoming attractive to employers.
yeah. It's that whole creativity in creating technology that's different and rethinking and seeing things in a different way and imagining. It all comes from that right side of the brain, right? That's not the linear side of things. Um,
It does,
so,
and that's really helped me in my career. So I've
mhm,
always been the engineer that you could put in front of the customer. I've always been, I know how to solve the problems, but I also know how to use the right side of my brain as well. And so it makes
yeah.
me unique in the technical space.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's totally awesome. So you're building programs right now, and you're tell us about the programs that you're building.
My intention is to work with tech companies, primarily because I have been in aerospace and aviation for so long, to start with the aviation and aerospace companies because I have relationships there and people who know me and who have followed my career, and working with them to build a mentoring program for young women entering their first career. So basically, a 6-month mentoring program where they will be able to attract women to their companies because there is a big push for companies now in their diversity. So when I was getting out of school, if I was choosing between a company that had a mentoring program for women, especially versus one that didn't, I would certainly look harder at a company that pays attention to young women when they're actually entering the company and gives them a great runway to start their career. So it's good for attracting young women and then helping them retain young women as well, because they're showing that they are focusing on this special need.
Yeah, I love this. I love it. So you and I have had an opportunity to work together over the years, and I love that. It's been really fun. And I want you to just go back to, I mean, we can go back multiple stages of this, but really coming into this for building your business, right?
Yep.
Um, coming into working together for building your business. What's different today than, you know, from when that point when you came in to work with me there with on your business?
So really what's different is that I know this is going to sound very basic, but I have been so focused on corporate that I actually now believe that I can have a business and that I can depend on myself and my own skills and knowledge to move forward. It's one thing to know that you're going to have a steady paycheck, but I've kind of had this revelation that why would I depend on someone to take better care of me than I can take care of myself?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you've
that's
built a really solid business
Mm,
plan. You have
exactly.
the foundation of that.
Exactly. And I wouldn't, I mean, I didn't, I was going to say, I wouldn't have even known where to start. No, but I had no idea where to start. And so now I really have the building blocks and I know that the direction that I need to go. And so I'm just taking the steps that I need to take to move forward.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's go to Shelly because we're going to keep kind of on this theme of helping people in their careers. So Shelly, tell us a little bit about you.
I know my name is spelled weird, but it is pronounced Shelly. And I have a 20-year background from STEM and STEAM companies like Lockheed Martin, Comcast, and Honeywell. And I was a senior leader in talent acquisition. And I also was on the Inclusion Council and led diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for Honeywell. So I'm very, very passionate about that. But in 2019, just like Dana, I felt completely lost and my soul was crushed. I was done playing the political game and I really didn't want to go up the treadmill anymore. So in 2019, I left corporate and had my own great resignation, if you will. And I started Best You Career Advantage. And then in March of 2021, I started Colorado Career Connectors. So I have been quite busy.
In the middle of a pandemic.
In the middle of a pandemic, honey, right? And everything I've done has been virtual. And I'm really blessed to have been in the circles of, especially your circle of women. So
tell us, so I want people to realize you started Colorado Career Connectors in January of 2021. How many people do you have in your community now?
So we just celebrated 1 year. We started in March of last year.
Uh-huh.
We have, as of today, 987 people in my community, which is, I don't even know how that happened organically.
Yeah.
And Colorado Career Connectors is the community side of what I do.
Yep.
It is a very inclusive community where I bring recruiters and the tops of HR from Colorado businesses. And we have a no holds barred conversation of what it's really like behind the HR curtain, what it's really like behind talent acquisition. And then I also bring in speakers that can really influence job seekers or those that are just ready to stop being in a toxic environment, want promotions, that have felt undervalued and burnt out, to really live their best life. And that's actually why I call my business Best You, because I went through like 300 iterations of titles for my company. And it really always comes back to don't be lost anymore. Stop being in a toxic environment and truly live your best life and be your best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got the community side of your business, but tell us about the other part of your business, that's really helping people step into that Best You.
So I have been lucky enough to work with over 90 people in the 2 years I've been in business. And it's really focused on a 7-step framework because I do work with a lot of women and diversity leaders in STEAM. So I have to be a little linear for them. It starts with vision, and it really focuses on what is your purpose. It uses that right side of the brain, just like Dana was talking about. What is your vision? What are you curious about? And then goes into a 7-week program that I know you've been involved with, Positive Intelligence. So I take all of my clients through Positive Intelligence, and it stops or limits that inner critic that tells you that these beliefs of you're not good enough or you're not worthy or you're to this or to that. And it really increases that right side of your brain so that you navigate life differently, that you show up and activate what are you curious about. And then when you get your mental fitness right, we go into strategy, branding, LinkedIn optimization, and specific tactics. And so the result of all of that is you have to make pivots with your mindset, with your vision, with your purpose, how you go about looking for a promotion or having that conversation. And the result of that, Cami, has been that I have fast tracked career searches and advancement opportunities. And last year alone, my clients earned $1.4 million in total compensation, higher than they would have without a coach.
That's so awesome. And that's, and that kind of metric like that is so important. And it's the breakthrough when you take care of these pieces of ourselves. Again, kind of like Dana was just talking about, right? Is when we take care of ourselves first, then we can grow in our roles. So that number is really impressive, Shelly.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So if the whole world could hear one message, and Dana, I don't know how we missed this. We'll come back to you. If the whole world could hear one message from you, Shelly, what would that be?
That message is that you are good enough, and that if you are in a toxic environment, your soul is being crushed, and we can help you get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Feel the feelings, but don't pitch a tent of believing those limiting beliefs. You are worth it, but you have to make your breakthrough.
Yeah, you have to do the work to get there.
You got to do the work to get there.
Yeah, yeah, it's not something that it's so interesting. When I think back to my corporate days, I think that would have been such useful work for me to have done at that point, because I didn't really start doing that inner work until I became, I left the corporate world and started my own business. That's where I really started to do that inner work. And I think that inner work is so important for everybody. So, so love it. So this is your second year in the mastermind program. You're in the platinum mastermind program now, the growth, scale, and impact mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about what's changed for you.
I had no entrepreneurial experience, and I had to keep faith over fear. And your program and the people in your program have helped me to really know that I can do this. And my messaging has changed. My confidence in myself has changed. My community has grown. My access to really tapping into what is my voice and how do I want to have, what is my vision and how do I want to get visible,
Mm-hmm.
is been because of the mastermind. And this year, it's about really focusing on my offerings, my pricing, and putting out a retreat. I'm actually taking people to Spain and Portugal to do El Camino de Santiago, because even though I was in corporate until 2019, Cami, the seeds of my inner change, what I call my inner pilgrimage, my inner breakthrough, really happened 7 years ago when I went to Spain. And if you can't tell, I am bilingual. So I'm really excited to be able to offer this retreat and offer this inner pilgrimage. And I would never, ever have even realized that was an opportunity unless I was in this mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been really fun to watch your growth. And I mean, you grew so significantly last year. You crossed over that 6-figure mark last year, and now you're into this next level of it. And it's, and that platinum mastermind has been really fun for me to lead. I'm loving it. And so anyway, I'm just saying kudos to you, because it's fun seeing you grow like you're growing.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to go back to Dana before we go to Kathleen, because I totally skipped over the question. If the whole world could hear one message from you, and this is something that I teach so much in my program, it's like finding that message where you're elevating your thought leadership. And Dana's is one that I always use as an example.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your one message for the world?
I'm glad it's a good one, because it took me about 2 years or maybe even 2.5 years to come up with it. So it was a lot of work. But really, my one message is, in order to involve more young women and girls in STEM and STEAM, we need to stop asking them, are you good at math? And instead ask them, what do you love to do? And what are the problems that need to be solved?
Yeah, yeah. And this is so good. I mean, exactly, right? It's like boop, boop, boop. And it's so important. There's so much noise out in the universe that there's so much noise on the social media universe, right? That people can just get, it's like, oh my gosh. And so I really am passionate about having a message that people can make a difference with, right? That gets people to stop and think and do differently. And I always say Dana's is a great one because it is about that, what if we stopped asking young girls if they're good at math? I mean, how many times have we heard that in our lifetime? We probably heard it hundreds of times. So what if we changed that up and started, changing that conversation? So kudos, Dana. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
that. Okay, Miss Kathleen, tell us more about you.
Well, I am a lifelong teacher and learner, and I love igniting a passion for teaching and learning in other people. So
Yeah.
I started out as a public school teacher, art and English and reading, and in the 80s, I was a grassroots community organizer, and I was trained as a trainer, which blew my mind because I thought I was just going to be, just easy peasy, shift gears, and it's quite a bit different than classroom teaching.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
skills based and learner centered.
Yeah. So tell us more what's so different. I mean, go a little bit into that because I know there's people listening here that are that have courses that they're building. They have programs that they're building. What do they need to know about building a course or a program that, I'm a marketer. I'm a great marketer. I came out of the world of doing marketing. I teach marketing. I teach business in my programs. I didn't always have the how do adults learn. And Kathleen's actually helped me in my programs where she's gone through and looked at them and said, okay, you can improve this by give us some of the things that we don't know as entrepreneurs that we need to know.
Well, the very first thing is that talking is not teaching.
Yeah.
Listening is not learning. So,
What a wild concept, right?
Right. So it's tempting, and we get a lot of advice. You see a lot of advice online to get in front of the Zoom camera and talk.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Your content, you're an expert in your content, and you have a lot of experience to bring. And the other part of that I really espouse is weaving your wisdom and your passion and your intuition that fuels that content.
Yeah.
Weave it into every aspect of your course. And that's what I help people do. That it's not, and I talk a lot about my building your course as a love crucible, as a container to welcome adult learners into your world of expertise. So I teach people a balance of structure, which is savvy, sequence, and congruence and continuity in your program, and all the nuts and bolts that go into it.
And how we learn, and because there's different ways that people learn. So those are all structural pieces.
Yeah. And the other,
but the magic is this other side.
Yeah. And again, it's a little bit right brain, left brain. The engineering of your course. There's a lot of places online that you can learn supposedly to build your course. But
yeah.
I think our
Yeah. And, so how is it that you help people tap into that that love inside that's, for what they're putting out into the world? How do you help them tap the things you do?
Well, just like Shelly and Dana were talking about, we start with your passion. What brought you to this world? What rings your chimes? What's the absolute favorite part of your content that you love to teach? What part of your content lights up people's faces and makes your heart glad? And so we talk about a lot. We start there, but we also talk about, and we do little brief meditations, just breathing and sinking into the feelings of great love that we all hold for our clients. And I really encourage people to expand that into an agape type of love, into a cosmic, ethereal kind of love that, we don't always like like people,
Mm-hmm.
but we can serve them and help them in very deep ways
Mm-hmm.
when we open our own hearts
Mm.
and welcome them and embrace them into our course. So it's a really different way of being of service. It's
Yeah.
a way of getting at being of service.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, when I think about, there's not an entrepreneur out there that doesn't care about their community learning what they're teaching, right? I mean, if we just were throwing stuff out there and people weren't learning it, it would not be satisfying, right? There'd be no satisfaction to it. So we have this deep desire that what we're bringing into the world is actually going to make a difference for the people in our community. And I think this is what you're really helping people do, is to take that into a more, people are going to walk away knowing and remembering and learning and growing from when you're helping them with their content. So I think it's super cool. Super cool. Is there, do you have a one message for the world?
Yes, it's that to really reach your adult learners, weave every aspect of your brilliance, your expertise, your experience, your wisdom, your passion, your intuition into every word and every activity in your course.
So good. So good. I love it. I love it. So you've been in the mastermind a few years as well. So what's shifted and changed for you since then?
Um, Hugely my belief in myself, hugely. And I give you all the credit in the world as my coach, being patient with me.
Well, we're all growing, right? So it's always so much fun, right? It's amazing to see how everybody grows and evolves, and I love the themes that we're having here, is that stepping in and stepping out and being seen in bigger ways. And I know that for all three of you, I can look across this room and go, oh my gosh. And I think about how all of you are showing up in your light and your fire and your gifts of who you are and owning your genius. It makes me really, really happy. So kudos to all of you. So we're going to go to the second round here. And Kathleen, we're going to stay with you. So as we show up for others and we serve others, that means that we have to take care of ourselves also, right? What do you do to take care of yourself?
Horses.
Yeah, we share that one.
And I love the positive intelligence course we took last year. That's really, really impacted me. So I do that a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I kind of laugh at myself because one of the ways Shirzad, our instructor, taught us to, or encouraged us to use it in different ways, to go beyond his class. And so when I brush my teeth now with my electric toothbrush, I focus on every tooth. And it's cool.
So slowing down, right?
I don't think when I do it. Yeah. It's the instructions are always, you go really slow. And I'm like, yeah. So I've been using my electric toothbrush for years, but I since last year, I brush every tooth while I'm breathing and not focusing on anything else.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like anytime that we can find to turn off all the noise around us, whatever that is, even if it's an electric toothbrush. I love it. And Shelly is going to actually be teaching the positive intelligence in the mastermind community in this next month as well. So both of us have gone through that work, and we're going to split up the mastermind community, and so we can have smaller pods for it. And I love playing with you like that, Shelly. Before I move on to Shelly, Kathleen? What's one pearl of wisdom that you'd like to leave with the listeners today?
Well, adult learners. One of the qualities of adult learners is that all of us, bring our entire life experience to class. So we're not blank slates. We're not empty vessels.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense that you make them with the whole of your genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. And where do you have? Where can people learn more about you and your work? And if you've got anything that you want to offer up please share that as well.
Yes, so right now you can contact me through with Extraordinary Women Connect or LinkedIn, and I will send you a checklist to help you look at your adult learning quotient for your courses.
Yes, if you're working on classes, get this checklist from Kathleen so that you can really start thinking about it through a different lens. It's awesome. So, and just connect to you on the Extraordinary Women Connect Facebook group or on LinkedIn. So, awesome. Thank you. So, Shelly, how do you take care of yourself? What are you doing? I know one of the things you do. You move.
I am a Zumba instructor,
Yeah.
and I have so much fun listening to Latin music and just putting compilations together. So I get to be the DJ. It's super fun. And I also use positive intelligence and mental fitness to really calm me down. And I have a village of people around me, from medical intuitives to crystal healers. I also pull angel cards every now and then
Yep.
for my business. And so sometimes people call me the badass woo-woo career coach.
Ooh, I like it. I totally like it.
Badass woo-woo edgy career coach.
There we go.
That
Awesome.
would be me. But I definitely think people should move. And now I am starting to train for my 80-mile walk in Spain in September. And it's really about listening to nature and being totally present with the beauty that Mother Gaia gives us.
Yeah. One of the things that just comes up for me, with all, for all of us, right, is that being an entrepreneur is not a straight line, right? It's messy. We've got stuff around us every day. And so this is why I think this question is so important, because we are always, we can be, high as we can be on one day, and the next day, everything could be, we can be in tears, and it's for all of us. It happens for all of us. And I think having these kind of things, whether it's how we slow down and brush our teeth, how we, go on walks on the Camino de Santiago, right? It's like all the things that we can do to take care of ourselves is such an important part of being an entrepreneur. And that's why I think this is such an important question. So people can think about, okay, I'm on this entrepreneurial journey. What am I doing that's taking care of me? The movement for you on the Zumba is, you embody that, and it gets you out of the noise, right? It gets us out of the noise that's there. And if we can find ways that we can release that it's so powerful. So what's your one pearl of wisdom that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Follow your gut, because that is your intuition speaking through you.
Yeah.
And your intuition will never lead you in the wrong direction. And if your gut is telling you that you cannot do any more toxicity in a workplace environment, you've got to follow that gut, because you're just going to be dying. Your soul's going to be dying if you don't follow your gut.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so interesting. I had a story where I had a boss in my former corporate world that I really didn't like very much. But one day he told me, I don't care what your intuition is. It's only facts. That's all we care about, are facts. I don't care what your intuition says. And I was like, I've held that story for a long time, and I rely so much on my intuition today. And I, let my intuition guide me in the just important decisions I make in my business. So I will just really voice that one right back after you. It's like, yes, own that intuition that's telling you something. And if somebody tells you your intuition doesn't matter, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I love it.
Hasta luego.
Exactly. So, where can people learn more about you and your work?
So I'm at bestyoucareeradvantage.com. But I also, like we talked about earlier, own Colorado Career Connectors, and they can go to cocareerconnectors.com.
Yeah. So both of those places are good places, and you're on all the socials as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd love to invite your audience to follow me on Instagram. We're just flexing that muscle, and so please follow Bestie Career Advantage on Instagram.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great opportunity to do that. And I forgot, did you have something an offer to extend?
If you go to Best You Career Advantage, you can get my free guide for amplifying your career journey. It's a 13-page guide with questions on your vision, how to get into your mental fitness, and then strategy. And I've had a lot of really good feedback on it. So it's free for everyone.
Yeah, so if you're really ready to raise up your salary, get grow your career in a bigger way, whether you're in a job or whether you're looking for your next job, make sure you reach out to Shelly. So awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cameron.
Uh-huh. So Dana, how do you take care of you?
Well, a big one for me is it is mud season, so I am getting ready to go to my mountain home where I feel the most like me and where I seem to come up with a lot of my best ideas and my good thinking.
And
So
that's Creekside up in Vale.
yeah, that's really kind of an annual thing or a biannual thing. Whenever the tourists aren't up there, I am. So
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to do that. But what I really learned to do on a daily basis is to actually block out 90 minutes of time during the day to do something that I love, because this is what I lost. So I will block 90 minutes to read for pleasure. I will block 90 minutes to play the piano. I
In
will
the middle
block
of the
90
day.
minutes to knit. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
just, so I very specifically set aside time every day to take 90 minutes just for me.
Yeah, and I love that you do it in the middle of the day, because we were just talking about this in the platinum group yesterday about how we somewhere along the line we decided we had to start working at this time and work till this time, and doesn't mean we don't work hard when we create blocks where we're working hard, but taking a break in the middle of the day, what a gift. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And what's your pearl of wisdom?
Invest in yourself. So if there is something that you want to do, that you are afraid of, that is keeping you from being who you want to be, spend the money to get good at it and to get over your fear. I just specifically to your programs, Cami, I can't speak highly enough of Soul Speaks. I a year ago, I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to be a speaker because I had so much fear of being on the stage. And through your event, I know that I can do it, and I'm becoming a confident speaker, which is huge. And
Yeah.
and the other event that is so important to me is the Wild Women Writing Retreat, which attending that event last year really completely shifted how I was writing my book. I was typing my book on my computer, and what came out of me was technical writing. It didn't have any heart in it. It didn't have any. It was just an engineer writing a book. And
Yeah.
so, how exciting does that sound? But going to the retreat and having this community of women and the coaching from you and Donna, I actually started writing my book by hand now, and I'm writing it all by hand, and it's a completely different tone and a different story. And so I'm investing in myself to go again this year because it's such a big step for me. So invest in yourself. If you want somebody to invest in you, you need to invest in yourself first.
Yeah, that's so true. That's great advice. So the Wild Woman Writing Retreat is literally just a little over a week away. I'm super excited about this year because I'm actually going to be doing writing myself. I'm making space to write during that, and Donna's going to take the lead on that, other than when we do the Equine Day. And I I'm super excited about having space in the Colorado mountains to write. I think there's like a space open still if somebody, wants to is if they're tuning in, they're listening. I believe we were releasing all the rooms this week, but I think there's still one room that we're holding right now. So if there's anybody saying, "Ooh, I want to know about the foothills of Colorado in the springtime, in the sunshine, and space to write a book. Let's have a chat about it. So thanks for bringing that up, Dana. I know Kathleen joined that and that with us in that last year, and it was fun. It's fun to be in circle with a group of women writing all week long. It's really fun. So so we've talked about. So where do people learn more about you and your work?
I just relaunched my website, danakirchmar.com, and it is a work in progress. But you can go there and learn about me. You can learn about STEM and STEAM and the difference between STEM and STEAM and why the A is so important. I have a place if you'd like to talk to me. You can book some time with me on my calendar, and I'd love to talk with you about STEM and STEAM, and if there's anything that I can do to help you. I would love to speak with you. So
yeah, and if there's leads in companies who are bringing women in tech into their companies, let's get you having a conversation with Dana, because she's developing these programs right now, and it's time for that work to really start going into the companies. So let's get those conversations going as well. So
thank you.
Really exciting. It's so exciting.
Thank you.
Well, this has been fun, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on and joining us today. Ooh, somebody says, Dana, your website is beautiful. And also Julie Doral says she had her 12-year-old listening to you, by the way.
Great.
Dana.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Kathy McCarty says, Kathleen has been an amazing co-creator of my passion project. We start mini sessions focused on PQ practices first. So good things going here. See if there's anything else here. Stacy Cruz says, I'm so excited to hear from all you brilliant women. So it's fun to see the comments out here, guys. Thanks for jumping on here. So if anybody is wanting to know more about this amazing mastermind community that you're getting an opportunity to meet over the course of this week and next week, just let me know. Let's jump on a call. Let's have a conversation. My women are raising up their voices. They're finding clarity in who they are. They're finding clarity in who they serve. And they're really going out and being seen and being heard and growing their businesses. It's so exciting to me. And I just always put it out there. It's like, to the universe, it's like, I'm here, use me, right? I'm here. Let whoever's meant to be in these programs I trust is meant to be here. So let's have the conversation if this is calling to you. And we will be back next Tuesday at same time. Next Tuesday we have, who do we have next Tuesday? We have Kara Schmidt, who is going to be talking. She's a cultivator of connected and courageous spaces where heart-based leadership flourishes. So she does a lot of Brene Brown work. So if you guys love Brene Brown, you're going to want to meet Kara. We've got Diane Samard, who's those impacted by cancer's emotional scars deserve compassionate healing. So she is really very much about bringing the emotions into people going through cancer journeys, how to really serve that and better serve that and show up and change what's happening for how we serve people who have cancer. And then we have Jill Coit, and she's remember who you are so you can become the you are meant to be. I'm excited for next week. We've got another set of great women coming. You can see any of the recordings on LinkedIn, or you can see it on the Extraordinary Women Connect group. So just check them on the Extraordinary Women Connect group. We're putting them into a group. I can't remember what they're called, but it's the course that is in the Facebook group. You can quickly find those, and then LinkedIn, you can find it from just go under my profile and you can see any of them. So thanks for joining us, and thanks, ladies. It's been fun, and you guys have a great day.
Thanks, Cami.
Thank you, Cami.
Uh-huh.